I honestly believe that Jayce has one of the most catastrophic and distressing arcs in all of fiction. You see, what really makes me so sad about this character is that when he was actually an amazing character, everyone in the fandom hated him for some reason. And I'm not talking about the bullshit that occurs in episode 6, I'm talking about Jayce through all of season 1. And then somehow it feels like because the creators knew he was so hated, they decided to just assassinate the character in as many ways possible. Nothing Jayce does throughout season 2 of Arcane makes any sense. And nothing that actually happens to him or with him in the plot is ever consistent. So I'm sure you're all aware of the infamous line where Victor tells Jayce, "In all timelines, you are the only one who can show me I am wrong." Why on earth would Jayce immediately go back in time and murder him? Just from that episode alone, Act 3 is inconsistent with Act 2 in terms of Jayce's arc. Also, do you remember in episode 6 how he's kind of insane, he's like glitching kind of like he's from across the Spider-Verse? Why is that just never relevant again? Was it just magically healed over time somehow? Because for me personally, I thought this was going to play a pretty major role in his final confrontation with Victor. And I've heard the argument that Jayce kills Victor because it was all part of Victor's plan for this all to go well, but then that just takes away all of Jayce's agency in the story, and he effectively just becomes a plot zombie for alternate universe Victor. Also, I'm not sure how many of you actually remember this, but Caitlyn is sort of Jayce's sister. They were extremely close growing up, and the Hieramans are the ones who initially sponsored Jayce to begin with. How did we go all of Arcane Season 2 without seeing some sort of bittersweet reunion between Caitlyn and Jayce? Beyond the 30-second scene in episode 1. I also just feel that Jayce's quote-unquote conclusion with Mel was so lackluster, especially compared to their relationship in Season 1. Jayce is a very interesting character in Season 1. His character work is very meticulous and very specific. It is his political power and political maneuvering that makes him so interesting. He was a scientist who was being forced to play politician, and he was very green around the ears. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm not even sure what to call Jayce in Season 2 to properly characterize him, because he loses all of what made him Jayce to begin with. But then in the final moments we're supposed to believe that this is still our Jayce from Season 1 that loved Victor. I just don't buy it. And maybe this is just a personal opinion, you guys can let me know in the comments down below, but I really don't like Jayce's final message to the audience and Victor. To sum it up, he's answering a question that was asked in Season 1 as to whether Hextech is worth pursuing, and he basically comes to the conclusion that it was wrong to try and improve people's lives. It was wrong to try and cure Victor of his terminal illness because I guess that's just God's will? And then he just dies with Victor, basically saying, well, it goes wrong in every universe, so let's die with it. And it's like, are you really going to look me straight in the face and tell me there's no universe where Hextech actually works out and they change lives for the better? And if that's true, what are you trying to say about technological advances in our own society? All in all, somehow the writers of Arcane Season 2 managed to take away all of Jayce's agency. He is quite literally stripped of everything that made him Jayce in Season 1, and by the end of Season 2, we're just left with a husk that sort of looks like Jayce.